Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Before we begin, I'm going to preface it by saying the same thing that I've said times before. I don't do politics. I don't go there. I don't engage. However, one cannot ignore that there are some economic challenges or changes going on in our world right now that is causing a little bit of anxiety and just making a lot of us think about, the future, if you will. It's affecting a lot, and it's also affecting your planning of the future, especially when it comes to funerals. We're going to talk about that today. Something I never even realized, the ramifications of what happens in our markets and economy, and how it kind of trickles down even to this level of funerals. A lot going on there. It's another edition of Deceased and Assist, and she is the owner of two fantastic funeral homes, warm, loving, great facilities in New Jersey, Oliverie Funeral Homes. Jerry Oliverie is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? I'm looking forward to speaking about this topic and how it's going to affect a lot of things.
I'm doing well, and part of the reason for that is I haven't logged in to look at investments or anything like that. I did it once about a month and a half ago, and I never went back in. And I don't want to worry. I don't want to think about it. I'm all about control what you can control. The rest, nothing you can do about it.
The anxiety, it'll end you up with me.
Yeah. Oh, look at you. Oh, this is true, though. Stress kills. It's been scientifically proven. Wow. Yeah. So where do we start with connecting funerals to the economic situation?
So if you've pre-planned a funeral at a funeral home, which we encourage all the time, which is great. So most of us guarantee certain parts of that. We can't guarantee the cash advances and stuff like that. But you made a selection of what you want, how you want it to go. And one of those things you buy, of course, is a casket, right? So what happens is when it's invested in an annuity, insurance policy, or trust, it earns dividends or it earns interest. And we hope that it keeps up with inflation, that 2 or 3% a year, maybe less we earn. But, the funeral director will write off a certain percentage if you die and things go up and it didn't cover. Because that's kind of our trust to the public. If you prepay us, we're going to take care of it when you die. We're going to eat the difference. We're not going to go to your family and say, hey, you owe us another $800. It was a little bit of a difference. We just discount it. But now we have those who pre-planned and they've gotten this commitment from us, and we're going to get hit with those caskets going up 53% because of the tariffs. What are we going to do? We made a promise to these families. So most of it depends on where the casket comes from, right? So some caskets come in whole from China. Some caskets, just pieces are bought from China. So we have some casket companies saying, we'll split the difference for a couple of years, unless the tariffs go away, to try and help you, because we want you to continue to use us and, tell your families to buy, one of our caskets that you promote, without hitting them up with, well, the caskets are going up 53% just in taxes, right? So we have some companies doing that, and we have some companies that are like, well, it's not that much because we only buy some parts from there. We buy some parts from Mexico, and then everything is assembled here in the U.S. So we're not willing to share that with you. That's your responsibility. So what are we going to do? How is the little guy going to survive this? And how are we going to gently be like, we know we made this promise, but your funeral just went up $1,200 or $1,500 or more. And how are we going to split this difference? What are we going to do? Are we going to hope this thing goes away when it's already started? We've got price lists coming in. We have different things coming in. So we have to deal with that. Now let's talk about the people that had Costco, big companies that like to buy in bulk, like 2, 3 shipping containers worth, maybe 4 shipping containers worth of caskets, and then they warehouse them, right? So now they have all these caskets that are warehoused. So who stands to profit the most because they have the most storage? Them. Because they're not going to tell you they have 3 warehouses full of caskets that they bought before the tariffs. They're going to tell you the price with the tariff. So these companies stand to make huge amount of monies and not pass them on to the consumer. Not fair to the little guy again who has to pay this. So they're making more money because they made the investment. We can't do that. Where are we going to house, 3 shipping containers worth of caskets and lay that out and hope we sell them and stuff like that? So we're not in the same situation as these big guys are doing. So again, the little guys and the consumer are the ones who suffer from this, not the big companies and conglomerates who stand to make a huge profit from it. That's where we are.
Wow.
Now, let's talk about all the funding they're cutting, right? The DOG. Medicaid is one of the biggest things being cut. So at one point, you could say, oh, don't worry about it. The Medicaid will pay for the cremation. They'll give us $3,000. If you want anything else like a gathering, just pay us the $1,500. We're fine. We'll do everything. Now, they're saying that's not going to happen. We're not going to get our $3,000. So now we have to tell families there is no funds available. We don't know what to tell them because they haven't given us any guidance as to what they will provide or for how long or when it's changing. Nothing. We've got none of that. We don't know what to do. And they're at the county level, they're going all over the place because when we email them and stuff, it's like crickets. They're not even answering us. We're like, we need information. These people are dying. They're on Medicaid. They want to make prearrangements. What do we tell them? We can't be caught having to pay for this because we made some kind of ridiculous promise we can't keep again, right? It's just so much to think about. But I will say, those who pre-plan are the smart ones, like I've been saying over and over. Pre-plan your funeral, pre-plan your funeral. Look at the advantage they're going to have. Unbelievable. You don't know where we're going. So those who pre-planned are way ahead of the game.
Wow. With the pre-plan, how much change can there be? You're demonstrating a situation where the economy has changed. Are you honoring that price? Where's the fluctuation?
So usually we do honor the price. We say no big deal. It went up, 2-3%. You earned maybe 1.5%. So I would say most of my write-offs when I discount the funeral because I made that commitment is anywhere between $500 and $800. It's doable. That's coming out of my side, the services. The funeral home is still here. The lights are still on. The directors are still being paid. So it's from my end. We have to pay the cash disbursements. We have to buy the product. So it's just the way it is. Sometimes it's even closer. I've had some that have only been $350 difference, which is great. We're not asking you for money. But now our fear is it's going to be well over $1,000 what the cost is going to be. Not because I'm going up, just because that casket's going up. And anything else that may have product from China or Mexico or Canada where these tariffs are going. Like urns. They come from India, China, they come from all over the place. And guess who's soliciting me now? Italy. They're saying, hey, we can give you the urns cheaper now because of the tariffs. We're cheaper. So why don't you buy your urns from us? And I'm like, somebody keep this email, somebody download this. We have to figure out where we're buying our product. Where is it going to be less expensive? Because nobody wants to spend $600 on an urn. Where can we get it the cheapest now?
You identify so many things that
a lot of uncertainty.
Things we don't even realize. Casket.
Yep.
It's like a car, it sounds like, where something comes from this country, some here, some there, and then it's assembled in one location and or country. had no idea. I just figured it's all one
No,
spot.
no. And then
Wow.
some are 100% China. Some are 100% China. Those are the least expensive. They're not the nicest, but they're nice. I mean, I will say that. I mean, people can't tell the difference. Funeral directors can tell the difference, but not consumers. So, but there's 100% from China, and there are people like Costco who buy those, and then they warehouse them, like I said. So they're going to make the most money because they have them. They have a huge amount all over the U.S. stocked everywhere, so they can make that delivery in 24 hours, like they promise online. So that means they have warehouses all over the U.S. so they can get them trucked like Amazon to you in 24 hours.
Amazing. Amazing of the trickle down here and so much more reason to pre-plan. Here's this, it's going on right now. Who would have
Yeah.
ever thought we would be in this economic situation? I don't know. I don't know many that planned, oh yeah, they're going to be doing tariffs. They're going to be surcharges on things,
Yeah.
caskets.
Yep. Yep. And what do we do about the poor Medicaid people who have nothing? And now they're saying we're pulling that money. What do we do about those poor people? Where do they expect them to find the money if they didn't have it? So it comes down to if the county isn't going to give them the money, then the county's going to store them until they find family to take responsibility. And then the county's going to say, we're going to put, if you don't take responsibility, we're putting them in a pauper's grave. So a pauper's, because they can't cremate, they don't have family permission to do that. Nobody will step up and pay for that. So they're not allowed to cremate because they're not next to kin. So they will put them in on unmarked graves 3 to 6 deep. No monuments, no vaults, nothing. And that's your choice. Is that what it's going to come down to? I
Wow.
mean, either way, the county's paying, but how much are they willing to pay and what are they willing to? I think they're banking on the fact that they're going to prey on the next of kin and say, this money's not available anymore. Are you going to take it, or do you want your parent or your whoever in an unmarked grave? And then that's it. You don't have any control anymore. I mean, that's not a feasible choice for me. If you contact me, I'm going to be like, no, I'll pay. And I think that's what they're banking on, that most people will say, no, you can't do that. We'll take responsibility. We'll pay so that they can get out of that.
Amazing. Have you been in a slight pivot for a second? Situations with families, and it gets very personal. There's a lot of emotion involved where one side of the family or some members want this for the loved one, the others want this for the loved one. Is it majority rules? How does that work?
No, usually the dominant person in the family wins. You're used to conceding to your brother or sister, you will concede again.
So, what if it's a situation where um, somebody has gone through a divorce or the divorce is not final? I'm hypothetical here, but going deeper in terms
Yeah.
of the logistics. I'm sure you've seen them all.
Yep.
Um, you say that with such confidence. Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
I know where you're
All right.
going. Go ahead,
All right.
ask.
All right. So, divorce action started, divorce not final. One member of the couple passes away. Who is allowed legally to make it the decision?
Right of goes to the wife or spouse, whoever the spouse is, whether the children like it or not. You're going to have to talk to your parent because the surviving spouse, because it's not final, is in charge.
I knew you were going to say that, but I figured I'd just ask that. Wow, interesting.
Yep. Right of disposition goes to the married person. Right. It's not final. I mean, you can argue and get a stay on the funeral and go to court, and try and get the right. But if you're going through a divorce and you're not sure what's going to happen, anything can happen. Just like you said, the stress can kill you. I would say appoint a funeral agent because that doesn't go through courts. A funeral agent has only the right of disposition and they can do it immediately. They don't need anything from anyone. They're in charge, period. They're not in charge of your finances. They're not in charge of your will or anything like that. Funeral only, but get a funeral agent. A funeral agent is good even if you want one child in charge over another, because you know one child might do what you want over another. So get a funeral agent. It's the logic choice. It's a very easy form to fill out. If you want it in your will, tell the lawyer to say in the will, I appoint funeral agent, blah, 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 for my right of disposition. It can't just say, I leave blah, blah, blah to take care of this. No, it has to say funeral agent or a separate form. Any funeral home can provide it. We have it, it just has to be notarized, two witnesses, and you're done. And that part will go away, right? So then you don't have to worry about if you're going it through a divorce or anything, you don't have to go through that.
Wow.
You don't have to have arguments within the family who's going to win. Like I said, the dominant person is always going to win. You lose that argument all the time in your family, no matter it's holidays or whatever, you're going to lose that argument at my conference table. And I'm not going to point you one way or the other. The family has to make that decision. So get a funeral agent.
What a challenging position for you to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. You have to learn to shut your mouth. You want to say to the bully, no, I agree with this person, but you can't. You can't.
Yeah. Well, you can. You've done this so long that you can spot the BS. If
Dynamics.
Dynamics. We'll go with that one. Yes. Yeah. You figured it all out, but you just have to go with the law is the law, and that's it. Wow.
Yeah, I stand behind the law and I go, here's the cold hard facts. Now you got to make a decision. Right. Because I can't worry about someone being unhappy and then saying, report you to the state board. They want your everything. And a lawyer, we're going to sue you because, this affected me emotionally so bad. I need a therapist. Right. So we stick with the law because if we don't, that's the first violation they're going after. Because they'll look it up when they leave to see who's in the right.
Exactly. Wow. So with the economy and our current economic climate, what are we missing here? Anything else that we should share when it comes to either pre-planning or funerals in general?
I would say pre-plan, people. Pre-plan. Just get ahead of this for now. If it all goes away, great. If not, there's no harm in having this done and all situated, because I don't know if it's going away soon at all. Especially if you're in a long-term care facility, use your money to pay for your funeral now. Don't wait for Medicaid to kick in. Just get it done. Totally get it done. And it's a shame that, the savings isn't going to get passed on to consumer. I mean, a little guy like me, we're going to suffer the most. Hopefully we can survive and not have the big, big, big funeral homes that are part of a conglomerate corporation,
Right.
3,000 funeral homes and stuff like that, who can absorb this better than us, aren't the survivors of it. Because again, the consumers are going to be the ones who suffer. Because if they survive, they'll up the prices and you'll have no choice, nowhere to go.
Well, it goes back to what we've said before with the big conglomerates, the big corporations that are buying up funeral homes. Those are the ones that when you call, you go to a menu tree and you're going to make your selection. When we call Oliverie Funeral Home in New Jersey, you pick up. Typically on the first ring. It rings in your home.
Yes, I live here at the funeral home. So yes, it's 24/7, Jerry, if you can put up with me.
I can put up with you. You know what? You're wonderful. You have so much insight and love to help people. That's what it comes down to. In a trying time, in a difficult time. And I think that, sometimes you got to have a little bit of back in your position, I would imagine, because you could get wrapped up in the emotion too. I'm sure it's there's some sad situations out there, and I'm sure that swallowed you up a few times along the years.
Yep. I'll give you a little bit of trivia just for the heck of it.
Sure.
The majority of the people who want to be buried, guess who they want to be buried with or next to?
Let me think about this. Their pet?
Elvis.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah, if they could pick a celebrity, they want it to be Elvis. And
Oh,
Abe Lincoln and George Washington came in second and third, but nowhere close to Elvis.
would have never guessed that.
I
Wow.
know. Just a
Wow.
little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah, first thing comes to mind. I was listening to Elvis the other day, and it was "Suspicious Minds." It's like of all the songs to listen to, I was like, "It's a good song. It's a good song message in there too." Uh, you're a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the pre-plan as well. Most of us never been through this. Um,
Right.
in terms of making payments, let's say somebody's listening, watching, they say, all right, yeah, I got a pre-plan. The economy, uncertainty. I want something locked in here. How does that work? Let's say here's the price, made my wishes clear, going to prepay. Yeah, obviously, it can be all done at once. It could be, I'm assuming, payments. How does that all work?
So, depending on your age, is how I guide you. Because if you're young enough, I say make the payments, right? 3 year, 5 year, 7 year. Do you want to pay monthly, quarterly, or annually, right? So, of course, there's that little bit of fee in there, but it's worth it. God forbid you do die. If it's over 2 years that you have the policy, it's paid in full, and you don't have to make any more payments. They're going to pay me, right? That's the advantage to being young, 40s, 50s, 60s, even 70s for some. But once you hit a certain age, then they start to look and they say, well, we'll let you do a 3 year or a 5 year, but you're not doing 7 or 10 year, right? Because now they need that money and they need to make sure you're going to survive the 2 years and stuff like that. So again, if you make the payments, same situation, you just have less time they'll offer you. If you're in your late 90s, mid 90s, over 90, most of the time they say annuity. You'll get a bump up, but annuity. Annuity is the way to go. If you can't get any insurability whatsoever because you're 98, 99. I have someone who's 101. They're pre-planning their funeral, and they walked into my funeral home. By the way, they did not wasn't a family member. It was them. They drove and walked into my funeral home. I said, well, because of your age, we have to put it in a trust. It'll earn some interest, not a lot, because they're going based on the actuary, what your mortality rate is at 101. They don't expect you to live 2 years. And she's like, I'll live 2 years. I go, I think you will. But the insurance goes based on the mortality rate. So we have to put you in a trust. It's not going to earn a lot, but that's fine. Well, that's where we have to put it. Can you make payments? Yes, but you have to make the payments. A trust doesn't bill you. So you have to be forthcoming to make those payments. Or pay it all off and be done because you don't know what's going to happen. You're 101. Yeah, you walked in today, but one accident, one fall, and it's not good because once they go into like any rehab or something, they just don't have that
Yep.
ability like we do to get out.
Yep. 100%. And we see it all the time. Even people who stop driving start slowly degrading at that point. It's just the independence, the mindset. Love talking with you. It is a breath of fresh air. I can't imagine going to one of those conglomerate funeral homes and getting the same caring, attention, service, knowledge, all of that. That's just me. I don't imagine that happening. I really don't. Maybe there's an anomaly there, but we're not going to get the service we get from you. Where are the two homes you have located?
So one is in Manchester, New Jersey. The other one is in Jackson, New Jersey. They're both Ocean County. Um, somewhere by Tom's River area. Yeah. So that's where we are. We're very close to the ocean, if anybody likes that.
All I'm going to say at this point is I love you, but I'm going to minimize my stress because I don't want to see you.
Okay. All
Thanks for being here today. We'll catch up next time. Okay.
right.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Terry. Oh,
All
by the
right.
way,
Bye.
remind everybody website. One quick. We're going to put it on the screen.
OliverieFuneralHome.com.
Appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.